Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 206 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and we have a new co-host on the show this week. Brand new, never appeared before, or at least it seems like it. James Cush is back.
Hey!
James, how's it going?
I'm back. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, it's been a nice month-long vacation for me. I'm a little rusty, but I think I'll be able to do this. I don't know. We'll see.
That may have been the longest break you've taken from the podcast.
Other than that, yeah, and
we've had off-season stuff, but we usually do a podcast every couple of weeks.
Well, even at the start of the pandemic last year, we still ripped them out. But yeah, that's probably the longest I've been away. But no, Barron Speedway, Steve, thank you for keeping my seat warm. That was a great episode you guys did. And if you haven't listened to that, please do go back, and it's great to have a great guest like Steve on the show. And I'm glad he was able to do it. He brought some good stuff. I thought usually I don't listen to the whole episode. I'm going to be up front, but I did listen to that one because I wasn't on. So I felt more comfortable.
There you go. Yeah, it was nice to have Steve on. Bummer that, I've met him a couple years ago at Chicagoland, and we've been chatting back and forth, and I keep talking about wanting to see his track, but then the stupid pandemic happened. And
yeah, I know it.
Now Chicagoland's not there anymore. We're not racing there, so I'm not even driving through that area. I haven't been out to Berlin, and I don't know, one of these days I got to get out there and check out Barron Speedway because it's awesome. Yeah,
Berlin's got another race coming up not too long from now.
Yeah. Well, they usually have one the week of MIS.
Yeah, Hocevar is going to be running. And then I saw the All-Stars are coming this week to I-96. They had a little bit of an adjustment in their schedule. So maybe we might see Kyle Larson out at I-96.
Has Larson been running some All-Star races?
He ran earlier in the year. I don't know what I do know that he's running the late model at Eldora here in the next couple of weeks. I think it's the Worlds, right, Eric? The World 100.
I've lost track because Eldora's got double events this year.
They're doing double event. Yeah, I think they're doing the dual Worlds this year, just like they did the Dream. So there's a chance we could see some of our guys. I-96 is not that far away from Brooklyn. I mean, it's a hike, but still, we've got a lot of racing going on here in Michigan the next couple of weeks.
See, I'm curious because I'm planning on going to the closing weekend of these All-Star sprints at Fremont. Mm-hmm. And it'd be kind of cool to see Larson show up there, but that'll be during playoffs, so probably not. I would assume.
Yeah, he's going to tighten his schedule up right now. We're going to talk about Mr. Larson and his exploits probably a little bit.
Yeah, it's in the notes. So
that I guess I am out of practice, Eric. I cut into the show just a little bit. Yeah, I did want to tell you though. I did get some big karma. I saved this for you before the show. I didn't want to tell you until we were actually live on the air. So karma for not coming on the show is Sunday when I took my camper up north. I blew a tire on the way up and changed that, so I felt like that was NASCAR related. I'm like, okay, I can still do this. I'm not as fast as those guys with my 4-way, but I got this. And then on the way home, I blew another one.
Oh my gosh!
So 2 blown tires. So I had as bad of a weekend as some of the guys jumping the curb at Indy.
Yeah,
I think I was tearing up equipment left and right, man. I had fenders flying off the trailer, and
same pit road issues Chase Elliott had on Sunday.
Man, I tell you, I felt for those drivers on Sunday because I'm like, I've been there, boys. I've been tearing up equipment all week.
So you told me about the flat tire going up, but you didn't tell me about the one coming back.
The one coming back was another good one. So yeah, geez, Pete, man. Yeah. Good stuff. That's what I get. That's what I get for missing the show.
I know you got to watch Sunday because we were commenting on it. You didn't fall victim DVR or anything, did you? With the freaking changeover?
No, we were still unloading from camping and stuff and getting all that stuff taken care of. But I was watching the race and definitely caught the last chunk of it. So, and that's when if you follow me on Twitter, I was fired up there towards the end. So
I was so happy to be watching it live because I would have missed
it was
ending.
Good. Yeah.
Actually, I was sitting in the car at my kid's hockey practice. I told him, just go in. And I'm sitting on my iPad watching it because the signal's sketchy in the arena. And so I was watching on my iPad, and then finally the last red flag, I had to go in. It's like, I probably should make sure that they're actually dressed and practicing and not sitting in the locker room by themselves.
Right.
So I went in there and managed to get enough signal to catch the end sitting in the bleachers at hockey practice. So.
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Hey, man, you got to love the iPad, and, I've got the data plan on the iPad and unlimited data. I've got more data than I know what to do with. So it's really nice just to be able to watch it anywhere. My wife loves it too. She's so excited about the fact that I can watch it anywhere. Yeah. Yep. No, she's not. She's not. We got those 2 weeks off, and then I turned on the Watkins Glen weekend. I turned on the races on Saturday, and she was so irritated with the fact that NASCAR is back. It's like, hey, you had me for 2 weekends.
Yep, you blew it.
Yeah,
you had a chance.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you, we haven't had a chance to talk about the break, but I kind of enjoyed it. But then I got itchy. Yeah, Watkins Glen came at just the right time, so I was definitely glad to have it back. I like the break.
2 weeks is too much.
But I maybe wish it was earlier in the year. I don't know. Something to think about in the future. I don't know. I think the drivers liked it though. Kyle Busch was all over the place.
The drivers did like it. And I guess if you're going to do it right before the playoffs. I mean, it's a good time to kind of reset. Yeah. Honestly, James, do it before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just have a break have a couple week break going into the playoffs.
And get your media stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a week's vacation and refresh yourself before you go and battle it out for 10 weeks to crown a champ. Of course, it's tough to do that with, Xfinity and trucks also on different schedules, but who cares about them?
What's funny, Eric, is you bring that up, and we are 2 races now away from a championship bout here, which this is my favorite part of the season right here. When we get right to the nitty gritty, and Indy gave us a shakeup. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what to call it.
Not as much of one as it could have, but
it could have been a bigger shakeup. But what a weekend that was, eh?
Woo. Yeah. Now let's get into it. It was the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard, our first Cup race on the road course at Indianapolis, and it didn't disappoint. I mean, until it did. It didn't. I don't know. I have in the show notes, what a shit show, James, because it pretty much became that. Let's talk before we get to the curbing, because everybody's talked about the curbing, and we're going to have some opinions on it, I'm sure. What did you think of the race up to that point? I know you said you kind of were in and out, so you didn't necessarily get to sit and watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
But what were your thoughts on what we saw before everything went crazy?
I think my feelings going in were justified to myself that I will miss the oval, even though the fans have told NASCAR that going to that race doesn't mean as much to them in person. I miss the Indy Oval, and watching the race play out early was fine. I was like, okay, this is interesting. We've had a lot of road courses. It's been road course heavy the last few weeks this year. But I thought it was a decent show, and then all hell broke loose, and it got to become a little bit of a circus. But I thought the racing was fine. But for me, I still miss the prestige I feel for the oval. But, Eric, I come from the 1994 was our era. That was me and you. We were coming up as big time fans of racing back then. And I think Indy on the oval for NASCAR means something different to our generation than it does to fans who have come in over the last 10 years or so. They've only known Indy post the 2008 tire debacle, right. Which changed everything for NASCAR at Indianapolis. So you got to move forward. And I was okay with it. And I thought the racing was pretty good. I thought it was pretty solid. Great. It was just a good standard road course. I thought the restarts were fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, that long straightaway into a very tight right-hander is a nice, gives you a nice, I guess, visual of the cars flaring out. Well, and
it's not only
and
that,
jockeying.
It's that tight first turn, but it's a tight, safe first turn.
Exactly.
There's
and
nothing you're going to hit if you miss it.
Right. And watching the drivers' braking points differ based on how hard they're charging the corner. You've got, a lot of, this isn't a visual medium, but I'm throwing my hands up. You got a lot of this going on where the cars are, diving in. And I thought the road course held up. I thought,
all of it but the curb.
All of it but the curb. Yeah. All of it but the curbing. But, I think for NASCAR moving forward, especially looking at the next gen car coming, I think Roger Penske made the right decision for what this sport needs as far as the Indy road course. But again, things took a turn.
Yeah.
At the turn.
So first of all, I think we learned this weekend especially. I think we got a taste of it last year with the Xfinity cars on this course. This road course honestly is a better stock car road course than it is an open wheel road course. The IndyCar race wasn't terrible. It wasn't nearly as good this year as it's been in the past. But there's also been some snoozers in the IndyCar races on this course too. IndyCar race obviously is significantly better on the oval than it is on the road course here.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Whereas NASCAR, I think, does put a better show on the road course. From what we've seen, obviously we've only seen one race on the road course, and that was marred with the craziness that happened at the end. But I think that racing wise, the track really suits itself well. I'm so tossed on this thing, James, because on one hand, I want to just say, we're not a road course series. We've got too many road courses. We bit off more than we could chew this year. Let's go back to running some ovals. But at the same time, and I'm also of the mindset that, okay, the tradition is the big track. The tradition is the oval. That's what we want to do. That's what's important. I watched video this past week from when they tested it back in 92.
Oh yeah, me too. Yep.
And seeing what it meant to those guys, seeing what it meant to the fans to see the stock cars on that track.
To our heroes,
right?
The guys that mattered to us: Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvan,
but
all those guys were out there.
Then I also go, like, who cares about tradition if it sucks? I mean, if the tradition is bad, if the tradition doesn't put on a good show, what the hell are we doing it for? Who cares?
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean,
the fans voted out the oval with their dollars.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And we have a facility here that at the same track, it still means something. It's not a major anymore. No, maybe it eventually will be. I doubt it.
No,
but I mean, I guess I'm all right with it.
But listen, man, NASCAR and Goodyear screwed that thing up in 2008. And if you don't know if you're new to the sport and don't know what Indy 2008 is, go look that up. Yeah. And I'm not going to get into it. But the NASCAR has been trying to chase that back down ever since. So, I mean,
well, the other problem is this Indy course is going to suffer from the same problems that the big Indy course suffers from. And that's that the sight lines suck.
Can't see anything. Yeah.
So
never could at Indy.
Right. The fact that it's a road course might help that because different fans go to a road course. So what you're expecting at a road course.
And you have action. You have designated action points on a road course.
Except what the hell do they have all the banners in turns 3 and 4 of the oval for? I feel like that'd be a prime seat. Yeah, I don't
that's
get
the best spot to sit. I guess the fans who sat right where Joey Logano plowed the tire barrier. That's those are pretty good seats too.
Yeah,
I guess
the value of that hill might go up a little bit next year.
Eric, I thought about you when that happened, and we'll get into the wreck in a minute. But there was a photog right down there, and I thought, man, I'd love to see those pictures. One, if that guy didn't crap his pants.
Right, I was gonna say he probably needed a change after that.
Oh my god, dude, that was so crazy.
I'll tell you what, it'd be one thing to have one hit the brick wall in front of you or a concrete wall in front of you, but to hit a guardrail with tires, you don't know how far that's coming through. I mean.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the curbing, James. So my opinion on this has changed since Sunday. Sunday, I was ready to jump on what a bunch of freaking idiots we have at NASCAR. Again, another failure in race control to recognize that there's a problem. I'm not going to go easy on them and say that that's completely false, but I mean, yeah, we had some issues with the curbing. We had some issues with parts sticking underneath. But they couldn't have predicted this thing was going to come up and freaking destroy half the field, right? I mean,
I agree with you, but I will add that when Martin Truex Jr. spun, you and I probably saw it right on the camera. There was debris like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there's a caution no matter what. And NASCAR let them race that thing out. I feel like, Eric, if they would have thrown a caution there and taken a look at what was going on, that would have prevented, I don't know, 90% of what followed, which was just absolute carnage. But they let the guys race. And Eric, you've played racing video games, right? You got to hit that curb to make those, corners just right. Yeah. And those guys came flying in there, and, like you said, that thing started to come up. I blame, it's easy to place blame on NASCAR and Indy, but what else are you going to do? I feel like you're right that you can't predict that things are going to happen. Potholes and things like that. We've had all of this stuff happen before.
Yep.
But still, I feel like there's a consistent lack of preparedness and everywhere we go to these new places, there's a lack of preparedness for the rain. There's a lack of preparedness for the way the track's going to hold up and curbing. And I feel like, we had over a year to figure this part of the track out. And we've got cars in the Xfinity Series launching through the air like a video game. You got cars on Sunday flying through.
We've had cars launching since the first Roval, because we keep putting these turtles in.
Yeah, and we've got Indy cars flying through the air on Saturday.
Yeah.
That was crazy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Johnson, had probably a great seat there.
Yeah, but if you watch IndyCar racing, you can do that and still win.
Yeah, those cars are made to fly. So I don't know. I just think that there's just a lack of preparedness by leadership of NASCAR and the tracks. And when you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, even though there's things that you can't explain happening, and that's going to happen from time to time, I feel like there could have been some fixing here. And when they took the curb out, it just created another disaster. And I just, why do you even need it?
Every one of us, Ray Charles was sitting back there on the corner going, you know what? I can see a problem coming.
Yeah.
When you had that sausage curb there exposed and nothing else.
Yeah. Scheduled for schedule someone for the moon here in about 15 seconds.
We need a Robbie Gordon Stadium Truck Series, because that would have,
oh my God. That was insane. Just put a ramp in there and be done with it if you're going to do it that way.
So here's a question that I have. If you go to any track on the circuit and drive around the property, look around the property, you will find pieces and parts to repair things. Mm-hmm. If you've ever watched a race at Richmond, lining the inside wall on the inside of the track is extra fence posts all around. Michigan has them stored out behind the track. I've driven by them before. Mm-hmm. They all have this stuff. How do you have a metal removable curbing and not have a spare to put in there if something happens to it? Like, come on. I don't get that.
I heard Steve Letarte say, why isn't it just a concrete curb?
Why? I can tell you why that is, I think.
Well, it's an access road. Yeah. Right? It's not just that.
I think it also has to do with the different series that run there. Because that sausage curbing that's in there, the turtles, they take that out for the Indy cars. It's not even there.
Yeah.
Because that would launch. I mean, those Indy cars would fly like they do in iRacing. They'd be in the grandstands on the backstretch if they hit that thing. So I think that's part of it. I think because there's so many different series that use that road course that they want to have something they can remove and put something else in there. I'm just speculating. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you it's concrete for next year.
Well, I guarantee you that that, or they're going to that chicane it won't be as sharp or something along those lines.
I think it needs to be sharper.
Yeah, because I know, again, here I go playing video games. In NASCAR heat, you can just cut that corner and there's nothing bouncing. And I feel like, that's the fast line around the track. So I cut that corner, but I don't know why we can't just let those guys run that corner. I don't.
Well, because the problem is that there's not enough runoff going into turn 7.
Yeah.
And the drivers asked for that curbing to be there to slow them down for turn 7. Not only that, but they also asked for curbing on the outside to keep people from using that access on the outside of the track. And we got rid of that after the Xfinity race because we kept trying to Dukes of Hazzard that. So,
what a sight. NASCAR and NBC must have been giddy with excitement when they seen those cars going in the air.
I'll tell you.
It looked like Mario Kart.
It did. I wish I had animation skills because I really wanted to take the video of the cars of Joey Logano and William Byron hitting that and Photoshop in the red shell from Mario Kart hitting them and sending them flying.
Yes, exactly what
NASCAR
happened.
Chasm, I don't know where NASCAR Chasm is, but he should have done it. I'm very disappointed in him.
And the Xfinity Series race was ridiculous when they were coming, bouncing on after the other. I was like, what in the hell is going on out there?
So since you mentioned NBC, this is not in the notes, but I wanted to mention it or ask you your thoughts on it. I'm going to phrase it this way. Can we just get rid of the radio style broadcast? Because I love Mike Bagley. He's excellent. But anything that gives Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton a reason to yell more,
oh God,
we just got to stop, guys.
Yeah.
My
we can't.
God.
You
I don't
know,
want to just sit here and complain about everything, but Jeff Burton gives me a freaking headache. And I
It's
love
about-
Junior, but he's too loud in this.
Well, and the thing, yeah, I know, in the sport that we love, he's too loud. The thing is you expand guys' roles and the weaknesses start to come out. You've got to keep some of the guys reined in a little bit. But yeah, anytime we get Mike Bagley on the broadcast, I'm not really gonna complain, but
I like listening to Alan Bestwick's voice in the background as well.
Yeah, that was nice. I could hear him when they weren't on. Yeah,
Alan Bestwick and Jamie Little doing the broadcast at the Brickyard.
That was good. Yeah, old AB, he makes his appearance on the pod again.
Yep. So we didn't mention the winner yet. Surprise winner, maybe, I don't know, on a road course, probably not. AJ Allmendinger gets his first, I'm using air quotes, first Cup Series victory. Thanks, Rick Allen.
I'm glad you heard that. I'm glad you heard that.
Actually, his second Cup Series victory, because he's won previously, but it's been so long. That was before Rick Allen was doing Cup races, so he doesn't
in defense of Rick, I think he meant to say it was Colleague's first win, but I think he got caught up in the air.
I think he corrected it as he said it and fixed it, but I'm gonna give him crap anyway.
Yeah, it was still funny.
No hate to Rick Allen. It's just fun to pick on him.
Yes,
heat of the moment, man. That stuff's tough.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
especially when I guarantee you, Rick Allen didn't have notes for,
and all Rick Allen wanted to do at that point was go home.
Right.
Like he just wanted to go home.
You know, he's got stuff prepared in his head. Okay, when Kyle Larson wins this race, I'm going to say this. When Chase Elliott wins, he didn't have stuff prepared for him.
And he's got people in his ear saying, Rick, we got to get to the golf.
Yeah.
The golf coverage is waiting. We got to get to the golf. Come on.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to go home. The poor guy.
Yeah. So the other big excitement that occurred, first of all, I think anytime you take a road course race, especially, and do a green-white checker, you're pretty much expecting there's going to be chaos. You add parts of the track coming up, that helps even more significantly. So quite a crap show at the end. But we finally get the restart that sticks. Denny Hamlin runs Chase Briscoe wide into turn one. Looking back at the replay, Denny mentioned it, and it's pretty obvious that Denny went wide because he's being shoved by the 16 car into that turn. So Chase goes through the grass. So before we get to the rest of it, let's analyze turn one first of all, James. I remember when we ran the road course at Daytona last year, NASCAR did its rules. We started with the roval that if you missed the chicane, you had to come to a full stop before you continued on. Jimmy Johnson famously did that and missed out on a chance at the playoffs because of it. But at Daytona, when we ran it last year, a lot of people were cutting to the inside of the backstretch chicane and going through the grass. And there was question about whether there should be penalties. And NASCAR said, going through the grass is penalty enough. We don't need to make them stop. That's what I thought the rule was. And I know there has been instances in the past. As a matter of fact, it was brought up recently. I forget who it was that went through the grass. Oh, it was way back. It was Dale Earnhardt making that pass at Riverside.
Yeah, the one I sent you earlier today, right?
Yeah. But there's been other instances as well where drivers have gone through the grass on these road courses and made up time, and they've not been penalized for it. I personally do not think that Chase Briscoe should have been penalized for going through the grass. I personally think he risked damaging the car. He probably did damage the car, which was already damaged anyway because of hitting the curb earlier. I think he should have been able to go for it. What do you think?
I think I'm going to go back to my point on lack of preparedness, and here's why. I think Chase Briscoe should have been able to race that out, and probably he's in the playoffs today if they let that go.
It's a better story anyway. NASCAR should have let it go.
Yeah, but that area is so big, Eric. You can't tell me that there couldn't have been some sort of a temporary barrier put in to force the drivers to slow and get around it, instead of cutting that huge area back to the track.
Right. I
think that alone would have fixed any potential problems here. But I know he came back onto the track in the lead.
He didn't keep it though. Hamlin went right back by him.
Hamlin came right back by him. I feel like he should have been able to finish that out. I agree with you 100%. I don't blame. And honestly, if Chase wrecked Denny on purpose, don't have a problem with that either, because I don't know, that's just NASCAR racing these days. I guess so. No, I hated it for Chase. I obviously, Eric, you and I have talked on this podcast many times that he's going to be really good at this race, and he was really good all day.
I almost picked him.
Well,
as my guy.
Technically, you did in the wrong series.
Yeah, right.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, man, I don't know. I agree with you 100% though. It should not have been a penalty. I understand why they did what they did, but then they let him go for so long afterwards. I mean, either call it or don't. I don't know.
Yeah. So then he finishes, part of the lap. Denny gets back by him, and of course, going through. I don't know which turn it was, but it was over.
They were coming to 9 and 10.
There you go. He punts Denny. Denny goes spinning. Chase says that he was trying to pass him. Maybe he was, but if he was trying to pass him, he was trying to pass him through the right side. He was
aggressive. Yeah, he was aggressive.
I've been holding my opinions on this throughout the day, so I could save it just for the podcast.
Let's have it.
Honestly, it's kind of disappointing because I'm with you. If he hit him on purpose, I don't care. Just own it. Say you did it. If you didn't, he didn't.
He says he didn't. He says he didn't.
I heard him on Sirius again today. He was talking to Dave Moody, and he sounds pretty damn sincere. And so I think I believe him.
That's the thing with Chase Briscoe that I think people should remember is he's already got the respect from the veterans in the garage area. He doesn't drive that way. Even Denny Hamlin said that this isn't a typical thing for him to get involved in. It's not the way
which is probably why Denny didn't come swinging. He came talking.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to tell you about that real quick too. That was not a confrontation between two drivers. That was a driver and a car owner having a discussion.
Yeah.
At that, because Denny definitely had the leadership role going on with that one. He was thinking about his corporate sponsors without getting in a fight.
I think there were way too many cameras there for there to be a fight.
Right. Oh, they were all in there.
Yeah.
And Tony and Kelly Crandall, Eric, I think, do you follow her on Twitter?
I do, but I didn't see anything from her.
She said today that Tony Stewart was just off of the picture that NASCAR Chasm actually posted earlier today. And he was saying, just everybody needs to clear out and let these guys handle this thing. Let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Which, that would be the way they used to do things. But
right.
And then we just heard the whole.
I need to add that to the soundboard that I'm going to whip his ass.
I know. That's the great one, right?
Such a great line. Yeah, I mean, I don't honestly, Chase, you're second place in your mind on the track and a shot at a playoff berth with pretty much no other chance otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Frickin' drive through him, take him out, get the win however you need to. First of all,
Denny's done it.
Denny's done it. Denny's not winning that race. If Chase doesn't spin him, Denny's still not winning that race because Denny did not have the car. He was going to lose that race.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're fighting for your life, man. You owe it to your team. You owe it to yourself to try and make it in the playoffs.
This is what NASCAR wants to see happen.
Yep. Drive through him. And I actually was a little disappointed that NASCAR penalized him for it.
Yeah.
But there's some debate whether that penalization was because he wrecked the leader while he was under penalty or whether it was because he didn't serve the penalty where he was supposed to serve the penalty.
I don't know.
But he got parked.
From the video, they didn't give him much time before he wrecked Denny. It's definitely up in the air call. You could call it either way.
Yeah. And video and audio came out today trying to sync stuff up. I don't know that I trust it because I don't think any of these guys have timestamps on any of this stuff. So they're just guessing when the audio happened versus when the video happened. I've seen Fox many times put audio with video that I've heard at the track and know specifically that it's not from the same time. It's tough to do. Like I said, there's no timestamps on it. So I don't trust it. If Chase Briscoe says, and who knows, maybe he heard it before, but he didn't process it until after, whatever. I mean, it's all happened in a split second. It was pretty quick for me between us hearing on the broadcast that he was getting a penalty and that he wrecked Hamlin. So, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do to get in the playoffs. And that was probably his best chance, probably his only chance to get in. And
his last shot. Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if that's Dale Earnhardt in front of you. You freaking wreck him. Ask Jeremy Mayfield.
I mean, Denny Hamlin's done it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Denny has no right to complain.
Chase Elliott fans know.
And
Chase
Denny,
Elliott fans will tell you.
Denny says, well, maybe you should have waited and raced it out before he did it. Yeah, Denny, did you wait it out and race Chase Elliott for it at Martinsville, or did you wreck him with 3 to go?
Nope. He did not wait it out. I'm not mad either at these guys.
No, me neither.
It's just, this is what NASCAR wants. They want this crazy hullabaloo. And
I want to go back, James, too. And I saw a post from somebody. I don't remember who it was, so I won't call him out. Somebody posted on Twitter on Sunday that there's people that are going to enjoy this race because of the chaos and not because of the racing, and that's disappointing. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with that comment.
That sounds like Jeff Gluck.
It was not Jeff Gluck. I think I know who it was, but I don't want to name him just in case.
Jeff did say something similar on his podcast, and I believe Clinton Boyer is quoted as saying this was a great race for NASCAR because it was so chaotic. I'm sorry. I'm a fan of the TV show The Office because I like the chaos. I mean, I want to see this every week? No. Are we seeing it probably a little bit too much lately? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like what happened because I don't want to. Somebody could have really gotten hurt. You got a steel plate that's ripping the bottoms off of cars. Somebody could have really, really, really gotten hurt in this instance.
I'm not a fan of red flags that allow me to drive to the grocery store, pick up a couple of things, come back,
right,
and catch the green flag.
But it was chaos. It was exciting. It literally took out a bunch of good contenders and made the race interesting at the end with guys that probably didn't have any business racing for the win.
I mean, yeah, as good as AJ Allmendinger is, he wasn't supposed to win this race.
Yeah.
It was, he just found himself in the right spot because of all the chaos.
And you're right about Jeff Gluck, because I did listen to his podcast and he talked about the newer fans liking this sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, I'm sorry. And Jeff is not as long time of a fan either. Jeff hasn't been doing this as long as we have. He's not been a fan of the sport as long as we have, not to pull any shade on Jeff, but Jeff, there's a reason they used to sell out Bristol. Yeah, people have always liked this.
Yes, they like Rex.
Yes.
That's part of this. That's part of the game. This is
why road courses are popular, because we wrecked a bunch of cars for a couple of years on road courses, and suddenly everybody said, let's do it more.
NASCAR has always been 50% sport, 50% WWE.
Yeah.
And I think right now we are swaying 60% WWE.
Yeah.
You got to be entertaining. And as much as I don't like these things, like I really didn't like the end of this race. I just would rather see good, hard racing and not all the chaos.
Yeah.
But I understand why people might like it. It's not for me. I'd rather be short track racing, or like I said, racing on the oval for all I care. But I get it. Like, I'm not going to fight back on people who say this was fun and they like this.
The thing is too, is like I said,
I can't win there. I can't
take the curb away. This was still going to be chaos because these guys are all very safe in their cars. They know they're very safe in their cars.
Yep.
And they don't lift.
And if you think they were going to jump that curb as soon as the turtles, as soon as they took that curb out, you're shitting yourself. Sorry.
I'm surprised nobody flipped.
Honestly. Yeah.
I thought Martin Truex cars in their lid.
Michael McDowell tried like heck to flip that car.
Newman tried to do it too.
Newman, yeah. Truex a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. What a day. What a weekend.
So I guess the conclusion I've come to, James, we're done with road courses now until we go to the Roval in the playoffs. We've gotten them out of our system. First of all, if anybody thinks that NASCAR is going to reduce the number of road courses next year, you're insane.
Nope.
Because we will probably lose the Daytona road course during the regular season, but we're going to gain the Chicago street course almost guaranteed during the regular season.
At least by 2023.
Right. I still think it's happening next year.
It might.
But so we're not in there's Indy already said that they're going to do it again. Basically all but announced that they're doing it again. We know we're going to go back to Circuit of the Americas. There's no way that was a 1-year deal. We know Road America is going to happen again.
And Sonoma and Watkins Glen are mainstays.
Yeah, they're
and
not
the Roval.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Roval's
so,
not going
they
anywhere.
didn't put the money into the Roval to stop doing it. So get used to it, I guess. And I'm on the fence because like I miss all the oval racing. But James, you know what was kind of neat today is I'm sitting here trying to make my picks for the Cup race. And I'm looking at 1.5 mile tracks to try and see, okay, who runs good in this 550 package that we're going to run at Michigan this weekend. And it's hard to find them because there's not that many.
Yeah. Gibbs or Hendrick, you pick.
Well,
Which one do you want?
no, I mean we bitched about all the 1.5-mile tracks, and there's just less on the schedule now because of these changes. So
Yep.
so we got what we wanted.
Well, and here's my thing too is I hate it for the most part. Like I would rather do more ovals. I said on Twitter I want to go back to Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and be done with it, but I need to hit pause. The next gen car is built for this kind of thing. I will reserve all judgments until I see what happens next year, because I think that car will race really well, and we're going to see guys who are really good, at this thing with these cars coming in.
I'm concerned about it though.
I have my
concern that it's going to race too good, James, and that you're not going to be able to have the chaos that makes a road course good.
We'll see.
I think the fact that the reason that road courses are fun is because they're really hard to drive.
Well, you got to remember, Eric, NASCAR is running the show. So
yeah, that's true.
They'll find a way.
They'll install some more ramps if they need to.
Ramps if need to.
Trap doors, whatever.
Trap doors, banana peels, all that stuff. Yeah.
So AJ Allmendinger leads one time for 2 laps to get the win. Earns no points on the day, of course, because he is not a Cup Series regular. James, how much does it freaking irritate you with these damn Xfinity drivers coming into the Cup Series and winning our races?
Darn it.
Come on.
What a joke.
Ridiculous. How the hell does AJ Allmendinger not have
He's
a full-time
too good
ride
to be
next
racing.
year?
He's too good to be racing in the Cup Series. Come on.
How is he not a full-time Cup driver next year?
Eric, you again going back to something you and I have been on.
Oh my God.
When colleagues said they were going Cup racing, you and I were both like, put AJ full-time in the car. You will make the playoffs.
Yep.
You will make the playoffs. And here's your example. Mm-hmm. You will make the playoffs, and he will not be racing full-time in the Cup Series.
Yep. Yeah. Very disappointing.
He's here to muck it up. So I'm all for it.
Right. Denny Hamlin finishes 23rd. If you watch Radioactive, you know, because NBC did a terrible job of covering all the wrecks that happened on the last 2 laps, because there were more wrecks than what we saw. Hamlin wrecked at pit road entrance too. You can see it from the onboard of Chase Briscoe's car as he's trying to pit. So Hamlin ends up back in 23rd after leading 27 laps on the day. And then Kyle Larson finishes 3rd. 28 laps led on the day for him. Most laps led. Kind of thought he was going to get the win, but with things shaken up,
him and Chase were the best 2 cars.
If Chase wouldn't have had that pit stop
penalty, and he came flying through the carnage to get to 4th, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, those 200 guys, when it comes to road courses, they're the kings right now. Can't argue with them. They do a good job.
Ryan Blaney gets a sneaky 2nd place finish. Matt DiBenedetto, another good road course finish for him, finishes 5th. Kurt Busch, 6th. Eric Jones, 7th place finish. Good for him.
Great day for Eric Jones. 37 points on the day, one of the highest totals of the day. Just awesome. Just awesome day for Eric Jones.
Very cool. Justin Haley finishes 8th.
Yep.
Austin Cindric, who was almost a pick option for me. I think I had him on. I think I put him on the bench on fantasy.
I had him in fantasy. Yeah, I had where I got messed up was I had Byron.
Yeah,
I did too. And I think Byron. I think a lot of guys had Byron, and when he wrecked, it took a lot of us out. We had some low scores in fantasy.
Yeah, it was terrible. Everybody, even though the winners are terrible, everybody's 120 points or less.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah.
Anything else worth talking about with this one, James?
I want to shout out one driver who had a great day, considering the position he is in the point standings right now. Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Stayed out, got the max points on the stages. Brilliant call by the crew chief to get 20 free points, because they were just giving them to him.
Yep.
He grabs his 20 points.
Well, they were giving it to him. He did have to earn the one from Michael McDowell, though.
He did. Yeah, he did. But again, regardless, 10 points or 9 points. That's a great call there. He finishes 21st. Not a great overall finish, but Eric, if you look at the total points on the day, 36 total points. The highest on the day was 38. Matt DiBenedetto. Tyler Reddick was battling to get that last playoff spot, is right there. Yeah. He's the first guy to get bumped, but he's giving himself a puncher's chance going into Daytona after Michigan here to have a chance to. I mean, I expect him to run well at Michigan. So I think he's going to, unless he gets somebody surprise wins Daytona, he's probably going to make the playoffs.
The problem is that the guy he's battling also had a pretty good day with a 3rd and a 2nd in the first 2 stages. Austin Dillon.
Yep. Same strategy. Yep.
Got wrapped up in the wreck with Ryan Newman though, and that put him back.
Yep. He did.
So he finished 31st on the day. But very interesting. And it is interesting to see, especially. So, James, this is the one instance where the stages in the road course actually were interesting because it gave this move for the guys that needed points versus needed wins.
Yeah. Chase Briscoe could have got the first stage easy and decided, they're not racing for points. They'd have points mean nothing to Chase Briscoe. Wins mean everything. So
this weekend they go to a track that his teammate has dominated at. What do they put in Chase Briscoe's car at Michigan to try and get him a win, man?
I don't know, but you got to be careful because you don't want to bump Kevin Harvick out.
That's true. So, yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Anything else, James?
Boy, I think we went quite long on that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
a lot to talk about.
We survived. Yeah, there definitely was.
We will go quicker with the Pennzoil 150 at the Brickyard, the Xfinity Series race on Saturday. Austin Cindric gets himself another road course victory, leads 29 laps on the day to get the win. Allmendinger comes home second in this one. And we got some foreshadowing, as I mentioned earlier, with turn 6. The outer turtles causing chaos at the beginning of the race, taking out a bunch of cars, and Kevin Harvick among one of them that got wrecked early, finishes 33rd on the day.
Yep, hit one of his spot starts in the Xfinity Series on these road courses, trying to get some seat time.
Chase Elliott, I think, benefited a ton from the seat time that he had in this one. He finishes 4th.
Yeah, it ran a great race.
Yep. Austin Dillon gets a 6th place finish. Justin Haley again performs well, finishes 3rd. Noah Gragson again continuing to be sneaky, decent at road courses with a 5th place finish.
Whenever Ty Gibbs is in a race and doesn't finish in the top 3, I'm always surprised at this point. So a 19th place run for him, but still, he's learning. That's going to happen. So
he had some struggles throughout the day, which is
let some laps. Yeah.
Yep. Brandon Jones finishes last, 36th, part of that first lap accident as well.
Gee, yeah, man.
Let's talk some news, James. We have Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell are feuding with each other.
Yeah, they are. Kyle Larson had a week, man.
Yeah.
Starting at Watkins Glen, let me tell you.
Yeah, so they get together and Larson's mad, or Bell's mad at Larson. I don't know what the hell. I don't care.
I know we think of Christopher Bell as a young guy, but him and Larson have been running in these dirt circles together for many years. So this is not a I think this will get resolved, but
this is a fight that happened in the media that shouldn't have happened in the media, really.
Yeah.
But
it should. You're right. They should have figured it out, but they're snipping at each other, which is, they're in the heat of it. It's fine. Larson raced him hard at the Glen, and Larson really took advantage of him, and I had no problem with the way Larson raced him, but
I did because it screwed up my fantasy.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But like, that
was not all Larson's fault though. Bell could have given him some room.
But I hate that it gets to I'm gonna call him or I'm gonna text him.
Yeah.
Just handle it like Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. Talk it out right there and finish this thing.
Exactly.
Now you're dragged into controversy.
And it is tougher to talk to the guy when he's in victory lane.
But again, Kyle Larson doesn't. Right. I know Kyle Larson doesn't care about this stuff. Like I don't think he even cares. Honestly. No. He's got other things going on. He's got championships to win. He's he's not worried about it.
Checkered flags to collect, trophies to find space for in his home.
Yep, exactly.
We interrupt this show now for a no shit Sherlock news break. Jimmy Johnson's open to run a one-off cup race if the opportunity is available. James, does that surprise you?
Nope, not one bit.
I think the only thing surprising about it is that we expected it with Chip Ganassi Racing, but now that won't happen. Because Chip Ganassi Racing won't be a thing anymore. But I think we all kind of expected Jimmy to step back in a cup car at some point, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like I never thought he was done, but he seemed like he was so disconnected from cup, but he's starting to, with his struggles in IndyCar, he's starting to come back a little bit.
I think he's been like in over his head big time. Yeah. I think he's proven that racing an IndyCar on a road course versus racing it on an oval is completely different.
I think he'd be good in an Indy oval track if he actually had the time to get it down, because he's
sounds pretty good, like it's going to happen in 2022.
One of the great oval racers of all time, if you think of it that way. So
yeah,
I would like to see him. I don't know. I mean, I hated that Jeff Gordon came back for that little stint, but I don't know.
It's one thing to do a Jamie McMurray type one-off race versus come back for a big chunk of the season like Jeff did.
Yeah, I like to see Jimmy like get some more fanfare because obviously he didn't get a whole lot when he was in his last run. So,
well, the other thing with Jimmy is Jimmy didn't retire per se. I mean, he left NASCAR, but he's still racing, unlike Jeff who retired.
Yeah, yep.
So, another not surprising piece of news: the All-Star Race is returning to Texas in 2022. Again, I don't think NASCAR really does one-offs very often. We did get the one-off at Bristol with the All-Star Race, but that was more of necessity to do COVID, not because we wanted to do it. So, I guess great. Good for Texas. If it means we only have one regular season points race on that track, that's good.
Yeah. Speaking of races that no longer have much fanfare, the All-Star Race. Boy.
Yeah.
Whew.
As we've said before, it's hard to run an All-Star Race when you run an All-Star Race every Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. 2311 could merge with Front Row Motorsports.
Yeah.
To get their extra charter.
Little Bob Pockerson nugget when he was talking to Michael McDowell there. I kind of picked up on that one.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. Sounds like McDowell might have a ride if that happens. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. We're expecting Kurt Busch announcement very soon. Maybe it'll come at Michigan this weekend while I'm down here. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Although I don't think we're going to get a lot of track announcements anymore. We're going to be getting announcements through press releases and stuff. But
that would right away make 2311 a 3-car team then.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Where does that's a tough break for the sauce.
Yeah.
But maybe John Hunter Nemechek saw the writing on the wall and got the heck out of there. I don't know.
It's possible. Right. We know Denny's going to get that extra charter, and we know that Kurt Busch is going to be driving that car. I mean,
that'd be
pretty much a foregone conclusion. So,
it
doesn't matter how we get there.
Front row, it's never going to get better. Like you won the Daytona 500, and that's the mountaintop for them. They're not going to do anything else. So, sell high. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, if you're going to sell a charter this year, you're going to do it. It looks like so.
Yeah, get Kurt Busch, and if you get Kurt Busch and Michael McDowell with some Toyota equipment, I mean, Michael McDowell, he can run road courses, and by God, he can run on the big tracks. So
yeah, and again, the thing that's worth noting here is that they're not saying sale, they're saying merger.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting too. It could be a better position for the guys at front row, that they have a better opportunity with that.
And it's actually kind of a good thing for Ford. They can move more of their resources over to Roush Fenway, where I'm sure they're not giving front row a whole heck of a lot. Yeah. But Toyota also gets to strengthen itself with another 2 teams.
I'm still curious who the big team is that's going to Toyota that they keep
in the trucks.
About.
Yeah. Is it Nice?
I don't know.
That'd be my guess.
Kyle Larson keeps doing Kyle Larson things, and he is now a Knoxville Nationals winner, James, as well as since the last time we talked, late model and probably 15 sprint races and whatever else he's gotten in. I know Jeff Gluck took some crap at the Nationals
he did
at the Nationals because he was asking about Kyle Larson.
I hope he rubbed it in their face afterwards too.
Yeah. Although from the sound of things, the drivers he was asking were giving him shade as a joke, and everybody on social media took it as real.
Yeah.
But yeah, Larson gets it done and gets the win there. And again, I mean, if you're in a race and you look at the entry list and you see Kyle Larson's name on there, I mean, you're pretty much racing for second.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're racing shopping carts at the mall parking lot. Like that's, I mean,
how would you like to be Kyle Larson right now?
Eric, this could have led the show, honestly. Like this is a bit like for Kyle Larson to win Knoxville. It's the biggest race for his life that he's won. Yeah. And he just won.
He won't say that now though.
No, but
he learned his lesson saying things like that.
He just won the Kings Royal. Yeah. Like he's won the 2 biggest sprint car races of the season. Mm-hmm. Best race car driver in the world. I don't want to hear any arguments for anybody else. Best race car driver in the world.
Yeah,
incredible.
Best all. He's going to go down in history if he especially if he continues doing this. I mean, he's down in history already with AJ Foyt, Tony Stewart. I mean, guys that could get it done everywhere.
Yep. Yeah. I would even.
He's surpassed Tony.
Yeah, Tony was racing at a time where he wasn't allowed to do all of these things,
right.
and Kyle's had definitely a better situation, but
Tony wasn't winning World of Outlaws races.
Nope. Kyle has won everything there is to win, and he's definitely Tony's won all these races. He's never won the Outlaws. I mean, he's won in the Outlaws, but he's never won these specific races. So
right.
You're right. Larson moves Larson moves ahead, but they are in a class of their own when you're talking Stewart, Foyt, Larson, Mario Andretti. I think you throw
Mario
him on
Andretti.
there. There's just a different breed of champion that you just see across. And Kyle Larson could win. Eric, think about that. He's going to win the 2 biggest sprint car races and could become the Cup Series champion all in the same year. It's just an incredible run.
He better.
Incredible.
If he doesn't win the championship this year, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah,
this is the year of Kyle Larson, man.
If you're gonna do it, man.
Yep.
Come back all the way and get it all done. That's the
story, is get it done at the end of the season now.
Just get it all done. Yeah, do it all. And honestly, he's not going to be around Cup as long as people would like. I mean, he's in this for a little while, and he's going to go race these. He's going to win an Outlaws championship. Like that's one of the goals of his career. So he'll be doing that before too long.
I don't know, man. Do you think there's a possibility with Kyle Larson's age and how long you may expect him to be in the Cup Series? Could he, if he goes on a run here, James, give Jimmy a run for second? No,
it's never. No,
you don't think so?
Nobody's catching Jimmy,
dude. If anybody can do it, it's this freaking team. It's the same team.
I know, but I can't. With the way the format is now,
is he better than Jimmy Johnson?
Listen, man, Jimmy Johnson's the GOAT of NASCAR.
I got that, but is he a better driver than Jimmy Johnson?
I think Tony Stewart's a better driver than Jimmy Johnson.
I wouldn't go there.
I would argue
driver. That Kyle Larson is a better driver than Jimmy Johnson.
Listen. There's no doubt. But he hasn't won the Cup Series championship. Win the Cup championship, and then we'll come tell me about that when he gets the Cup title.
I want to see him jump in an Indy car on a road course and go smoke Jimmy Johnson.
Eric, I have seen Jimmy Johnson win a dirt late model race.
Yeah.
It was the prelude to the dream.
Right.
Well, regardless.
Not a real one, I mean.
But he won in a dirt late model. I've seen it happen.
He won against people like Danica Patrick, who wrecked in turn 1 on purpose.
Danica didn't make it to the feature. Oh, man. I'm telling you. That's a good one, Eric. Like, Jimmy Johnson, yes, greatest NASCAR driver of all time, but I don't think he's the greatest driver I've ever seen.
No.
I have my I have my favorites.
And I think Jimmy being the greatest of all time is not the greatest of all time without Chad Knaus.
No, exactly. But
and I think Kyle Larson, Cliff Daniels is doing a lot for him, but I don't think it's Cliff Daniels that's winning those races.
Yeah, and we're talking different disciplines of sport. It's totally different game when you're talking. But Kyle Larson steps into those midget cars, Eric, and he can win anything. Mm-hmm. Jeff Gluck had this point on his podcast. I'll steal it. Donnie Schatz goes to the Chili Bowl, and he's the best dirt racer in the world, behind Kyle Larson. Right. And he's no good at the Chili Bowl, and he's not as good at he came up and raced the trucks on dirt and didn't do as well. I mean, Kyle Larson's won there too. So
yeah, this is a guy that got in a dirt late model and won his first race in a dirt late model.
Wins everything, man.
I mean,
just wins everything.
Yeah.
Yep. That's his legacy, Eric, is the greatest all around. Like, he's come for Tony Stewart's crown and he's already got it, in my opinion, as the greatest all-around racer that has ever lived. That's what he's going for.
I know you're going to get all prickly when I say this, but I hope he doesn't do the Tony Stewart thing and cost himself some of his legacy in NASCAR because of the other stuff he's doing.
Yeah.
And I'll not even just Tony Stewart. I'll go with somebody like Travis Pastrana and Supercross.
Yeah.
I mean, there's these guys that can't concentrate on one thing, that then don't live up to their full potential anywhere because they don't. I mean, Larson has already surpassed that in my opinion.
That's a good point, Eric. Like, you think of Ricky Carmichael, what's his nickname, right?
Right.
He's the GOAT, but he tried other disciplines and it wasn't for him, right? But
Travis Pastrana won, a championship in the 125 class.
Yeah.
But then couldn't concentrate on racing Supercross. And
Travis is one of my favorite athletes of all time, but he couldn't.
Travis is one of my favorite people of all time.
he could have been the greatest dirt, Supercross, motocross rider of all time. He just couldn't. Bubba Stewart's another one,
Yep.
But yeah, there's just a lot of unlimited potential there. So
yeah,
it's great. I mean, I love what Larson's doing, and he's done. Eric, you say his name now, and you don't think of the other stuff.
No.
He's done a full 180 on everything that's come. Yep. And winning the Knoxville Nationals was the cap right there. It was the top.
Yep. I feel like the fans are starting to turn too. I just feel like it.
Yeah,
like
they're gonna.
we're starting to get to the point
He's
where
too
people are
good.
tired of hearing about him.
Well, he's coming for Chase Elliott's stuff, and fans aren't gonna like that. It was fun when he was the underdog and was racing in lesser equipment than Chase, but now he's got all of Chase's stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
I hope he keeps doing it, man. I hope he wins this title this
Me too.
year.
Yeah,
I hope he gets a couple of them. He deserves it. The kid is good. I mean.
Yep. He's the best. He's the best driver out there. I want to see him get it done. I mean, if I had a route for somebody to win the title, he's the guy I'd pick.
Yeah.
Out of anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going for the good story, and I think that's one of the best stories you can get right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So.
Yep.
Eric Jones close on his deal with Richard Petty Motorsports to continue another season there. I think that just kind of tells us there's just not another better option out there right now.
Yep.
I'd still like to see Jones get another chance somewhere else, but who knows? RPM could be something this year with the changes. So
yeah, I mean, 1-year deals with RPM. There's worse things out there.
Yeah.
Like he's not doing a John Hunter and going back to trucks. Like he's gonna stick around. He's good enough to stick around, and that team is running better than it did last year. I mean, that alone is a shining light on Eric Jones's career. I think he can resurrect himself eventually.
Speaking of John Hunter and trucks, that is what I want Matt DiBenedetto to do next year.
Yeah, that
I
might
want
be the best
him
spot.
to take a good ride in the truck series or the Xfinity series. Go run for Junior Motorsports or something. Of course, we just filled up a Junior Motorsports.
Go win
spot.
something.
Yep.
Go win something.
Win some races. Show people you can win in one of the lower series, and then get your next shot at Cup.
Yep.
But that's the way he's going to have to do it. And who knows? Maybe Jones has to do it too.
Yeah.
No plans yet for Ryan Newman in 2022. Roush had said, or Kozlowski or whoever had said they were interested in running a part-time car for him next year if he is interested. But otherwise, Newman is pretty much happy to be alive and just taking what comes. So.
I would like for Ryan Newman to be able to choose his own destiny.
Yeah.
But sometimes you stick around too long.
Mm-hmm.
Like Darrell Waltrip,
Matt Kenseth.
Newman's not. Yeah, Matt Kenseth. Yeah. Well, Matt Kenseth got to choose his own destiny.
That's true.
Unfortunately, he kept making the wrong decision and showing back up. But Ryan Newman's not quite Darrell Waltrip yet. He's still pretty competitive, in the car that he drives.
Especially if you go to a super speedway.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him. I don't know. There's got to be a good seat for him, maybe somewhere. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. You want guys that can shake things up at Daytona. He's one.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't 2311 if they could? Maybe he's a guy that could come over there with Kurt Busch. I mean, that would be a nice little championship, veteran pairing. Over there. So. I don't know. I wouldn't give up on Ryan yet, but it sounds like that's not going to happen. So I think he's unfortunately going part-time or nothing. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Josh Berry gets the news we were all expecting. Will drive the number 8 car for Junior Motorsports full-time in the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Pretty cool, man.
I think he earned the ride, man. That's
he
what you
did.
got to do.
Yep. He's good. He gets his shot.
Yep. Good for him. I'm
kind of fun.
sure Junior's excited because I know Junior's been a big fan of his. And cool that they were able to put something together for him so he can get a shot at the big time.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Maybe this is the big time for Josh Berry.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to go to Cup.
I mean,
maybe
he's old enough to where he's going to have to do really well in the Xfinity Series to get a Cup shot.
He's got a very tight window to make something happen here. But if he goes and runs really good, that's a great sign for him. So that'd be great.
Yep. With that, I think we're out of news, James.
Whew. That was a busy week.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I sat down to put the news items in. I'm like, there's not a whole lot. And then there was a ton of stuff.
Oh, today there was, today that just kept coming.
Yep. So actually, that's a news item we can talk about. Michigan International Speedway makes the announcement. Well, NASCAR makes the announcement today that they're increasing COVID protocols that's starting this weekend with Michigan International Speedway. Let me pull up the release here. I don't know how much of this is public information, but I believe all the at-track stuff is. Basically, they're going to limit contact points between team personnel, drivers, guests, and fans. Guests are not going to be permitted to access team haulers or garage stalls. They will not be able to access the grid for the pre-race. Only NASCAR licensed people, press members, etc., will be allowed down there. Drivers can't visit suites. They can still host guests in controlled environments. And then Victory Lane's going to be modified significantly as well to reduce exposure. So I know media-wise, when we're allowed to still interact with the drivers, but we need to be, they're going to be more strict on distance, and they will have to wear masks during that. So change is coming. Not surprising. I was hoping we'd get through Michigan before the more changes came in, but we got the update a couple weeks ago that before Watkins Glen that we were going to have to wear masks indoors. And all this is inevitable. It's all coming. So,
it's where we're at, man. That's the way it is right now.
We go into this weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Cup Series, the Xfinity and Cup for the Truck Series. Xfinity and Cup Series are at Michigan International Speedway. As I mentioned, I will be there as a member of the media, so be sure to follow on Twitter at @TSuperspeedway this weekend. I have all kinds of stuff on there. We'll have some great driver audio hopefully next week on the podcast, and some more race coverage as well, so that'll be pretty cool. But it's time to make our picks, James. Let's talk about last week, which you were absent for, but still made your picks through the magic of the internet and text messaging.
Somehow, some way, I got them in.
Yeah. So we both had not a great week. 83-80. I managed to beat you by 3 points. So again, I get the win on the week, but you continue with your lead, 22-83. To 22-51, and as a result, I get to make my picks first this week, and I'm still struggling with Cup. I'm still don't know where I'm going. I know where I want to go, and I don't think I can go there, so it's down to the other two options. So I have three options for Cup right now that I'm struggling with. Yep. So I am to start things out with the Truck Series. I don't have too much difficulty picking this one. Hold on. Let me make sure.
And the trucks are at the Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Yes. So that's important. They are not running at Michigan. Yes. They're not running at Michigan all year this year.
No, they do not have a truck race at Michigan, which is disappointing because
they are the best show at Michigan.
Although the Xfinity Series puts on a good show at Michigan as well. Man, Cup Series not so much.
Oh, one of my favorite Michigan races I ever attended was when Bubba won that truck race.
Well,
that was
won in air quotes because he was encumbered.
Wow.
All right, so my pick for this one, I'm going to go with the driver that has one win here. He has the best average finish among current drivers, and I'm going to go with Sheldon Creed as my pick for this.
Sheldon Creed.
I am really, James, feeling someone like a Ben Rhodes or a Matt Crafton here this weekend for some reason, but I got to go with Creed. So
yeah, I like that. I'm going to go a little off the wall here. I can't take John Hunter, which I think would probably be my pick normally.
Yeah.
But give me Carson Hocevar.
I knew you were going to go there. He's close. You said you listened to the podcast. I got a chance to talk to him when he was at Berlin or at Dixie Raceway.
Yes.
He's a cool kid. So nice guy.
Yeah, I like Carson and some news this week. He's going full time again next year.
There you go.
In that seat. So good for him, man.
Yeah.
He's a great. Like I said, we root for the Michigan guys around here. We can't help ourselves.
For sure. Yeah, we're definitely homers. The Xfinity Series is at Michigan International Speedway. It's the New Holland 250. Again, not a tough one for me on this one because I'm going to go with a guy who's going to get some experience the day before Friday night in the ARCA race. And that 54 car, James, is always really fast at Michigan. So I'm going to go Ty Gibbs on this one.
Dang it. I didn't think you'd look at the entry list.
I know. I specifically searched it out to see if Gibbs was running because I knew he'd run the ARCA race. So
I was like, darn it.
And seriously, that 54 car is always good at Michigan.
Yeah, it's always good no matter who's in it. I will take Mr. Justin Allgaier for the Xfinity
That's a really
Series
good
race.
pick as well. If you're gonna go with anybody other than you need to go with a JGR or a Junior Motorsports car at Michigan.
Yeah.
Both teams have historically run really, really well here.
Justin runs good at Michigan. I don't know if I'll be able to compete with Ty Gibbs though. That's me trying to save my what.
Hopefully he will get me some points this weekend because I need it.
Yeah.
So this is the one I'm struggling with, and you're gonna have the easy pick because I almost know for sure where you're going.
I've got to take it. Yeah. It's right there for me.
I can't pick Kyle Larson because I picked him this past weekend, and I struggled with that pick last weekend because I wasn't sure that I wanted to lose him for this weekend. So I really, really, James, extremely badly want to pick Kevin Harvick because Harvick has won like 4 of the last 5 races here at Michigan. But Harvick just hasn't been running well, so I'm not going to pick him.
He'll get a top 10.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick him, and he's probably going to freaking win the thing because I didn't. So I'm down between two guys. and they're both from the same team. And I this is probably really stupid because he hates this track, but he's run well here.
You're going to take him.
He's run well here since we've gone to the 550 package.
Say it.
I'm going with, well, here it is.
KFB.
There you go.
There it is.
Kyle Busch is my pick for this weekend.
Yes.
Again, 550 package, he seems to run well here, but he hates this track.
Pick a Gibbs car or a Hendrick car, and I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, exactly. I really want to go with William Byron, but his stats.
I was just going to say, I was just going to say, but I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, this year is an anomaly for him, or
every
other year was.
I will take Mr. Larson, who had most of his Chip Ganassi success here.
Yeah, Larson's going to dominate this thing.
I can only imagine how well he'll run here. He'll be starting up front because of how he ran on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take him.
Short of a problem on pit road or getting caught up in somebody else's wreck, Larson's going to dominate this thing.
Yeah,
this is going to be one of those weekends where Larson gets the max points, wins every stage.
Yep.
It's over.
Yeah, Hendrick's going to be tough. I will say his own camp might give him some punches though.
Yeah.
Byron, I think Byron will be good. I think Chase will be fast, obviously. But look out for Bowman, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bowman will be hovering around the top 5.
Yep.
So, and we know that he knows how to take advantage of races. So, I would pick anybody in that Hendrick camp, but Bowman, Bowman would be a good pick here. If I had no other option, I probably would have taken Bowman.
There's another driver who is really, really, really good at Michigan that none of us have even addressed because he just hasn't had the season. That's Joey Logano.
Yeah. Yep.
Joey Logano has had some great dominating runs at this track.
Yep. And the guy who hasn't won here, his teammate Brad Keselowski, is usually fast here, and just
Brad
for some
will
reason
not be my pick the rest of the season though.
He won't win. Yeah, he won't win, but he's he runs well here. But the Penske cars, I just don't think the Penske cars can hang on the 550s with these guys right now. Just Hendrick and Gibbs are in a different area code.
I think Ford in general just isn't going to be able to hang with.
No, Ford's playing a different game with the way the playoffs lay out here. Yep. So I'm not saying they can't win a championship out of that camp, but this track for them is. I know Jack Roush loves to win here, and Roger Penske used to own the dang place, but just not the year for Ford.
And this track really, no offense to Michigan International Speedway, this track means nothing.
Right anymore.
This is a manufacturer's race, so it's important to the manufacturers. This race isn't going to tell them anything for the playoffs.
No.
This race is not going to help them improve on any tracks in the playoffs. This track is just a race that they have to deal with before we get to the playoffs. So,
yep, exactly.
And now that there's only one, and we didn't race at California, which California is not even similar to this anymore. It's just another race.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Fantasy League update, James.
Oh my God. Where do I begin?
All sucked this week, but fortunately, sucking was the way to go.
Some of us sucked less than others.
Yeah.
So there was Eric, you almost won.
Yeah.
You lost by 1 point.
Man, if we'd had a 3-way tie, that would have been awesome. That good.
Would have been really.
I might be the one person, James, that benefited from the chaos because I was hovering around 5th and 6th throughout most of the day.
Yeah, you probably picked up some spots where I lost points, but I gained the win with a tie with Todd. So Todd gets the win on the week because NASCAR has him listed first. I don't know if that's alphabetical order or not. But me and Todd both first, 126.
He's
Eric
probably
125.
first because he's ahead of you in the points, isn't he? Or is he not?
No, I'm second, my man.
That's weird.
Yeah. Barron Speedway, though, off of his podcast appearance, finished 4th, 121.
That's awesome.
So there you go. Boy, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
And then overall standings, I'm Eric. I'm knocking on wood. I'm inside 200 points of Ranger.
Yeah.
My assault on the lead continues.
Man, I'm far off of you.
I know we're not that far back. I mean, it's
Justin 713 is not far off of me. Well, he's it's pretty close.
He's about 50 points. Yeah, he's 50 points back. Freight Train's also about 80 points back. So. I mean, I've been chipping away at Ranger all year, and it's a long shot to catch him. But man, I'm trying, Ranger. I'm trying. I'm trying to make a race out of this thing, man. So it's not over. It's not over. I'm gonna win Michigan this week. I'm calling it right now.
Well, I will say that this was the weekend last year where I blew the picks battle out of the water and essentially took the win.
Yeah, you did.
Weekend.
Yeah, you did. You got the Harvick double.
Yeah.
And the way we did the points last year ended my pick season right there at Michigan.
Yeah.
I will never forgive you for what you did.
Yeah, I even tried to rig it to give you a chance in the playoffs. It still didn't work.
You rigged it just the way you wanted it.
Whatever. Do you have any shout outs this week, James?
Actually, I have kind of a funny story. I was listening. This has been a while ago because I haven't been on the pod. I was listening to the positive regression podcast, and they were going over some Alex Bowman numbers a couple weeks ago. And I'm waiting at the vet for my dog to come back out, as we have to, with COVID protocols, you have to wait in the car.
Yeah.
And walking by my window in my truck is a fan of Alex Bowman wearing Bowman gear at the same exact time I'm listening to this. And I thought, what are the odds?
No, what are the odds that you see anybody with Bowman gear to begin with?
I know. I was like,
even Bowman jokes about the fact that nobody likes him.
It was a Bowman race win t-shirt from Richmond. I was like, holy crap, this is an anomaly.
That's crazy.
I could not, if they were talking about Jeff Gordon and I saw a Jeff Gordon shirt, I would have been like, well, okay.
I don't even know that I've ever seen an Alex Bowman shirt, period.
It was the Bowman 48 shirt. Wow. I was
even
astonished.
A current Alex Bowman shirt. That's incredible.
But I was listening to Bowman statistics on the positive regression pod because I'm a nerd, and there it was. There's Bowman stuff in front of me. So I don't know. I can't explain it. So that's kind of my shout out. I guess I have a funny coincidence story for you. So there you go.
That's funny. I got a couple. First of all, I mentioned earlier in the show, but it was cool to hear Alan Bestwick's voice on the broadcast this weekend, even if it wasn't actually on the broadcast. Bestwick and Jamie Little doing the duties at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the broadcast at the track, taking the place. Of course, you can never take the place of the legendary Bob Jenkins, who passed away recently. So very cool to see them. And then just scrolling through Twitter, James, I also have to give a shout out to our boy, Michigan boy, Eric Jones, throws out the first pitch tonight. For the Tigers.
I just saw that. Yep. Nice work. Nice call.
I didn't look at the replay. Did he get across the plate?
I don't know, but he
got it. He got it there.
Yep. He went the day or two after Calvin Johnson went. So that's badass, man.
Nice. He threw a ball. I mean, it wasn't a strike.
That's right. He got over the plate. Listen, you can throw a ball. Just get it over the plate. Yeah. Don't bounce it in.
Yeah, he didn't do the Brad Keselowski. He didn't throw it at the ground.
Oh, God. The 50 Cent, 50 Cent's my favorite one where he just throws it sideways.
Yeah.
There's some good ones.
There are some really good ones. I never want to have to do that because I am afraid that I would.
I've always wanted to do it. Like, I always wanted to feel the pressure of the first pitch. Maybe the Great Lakes Loons here near us would let me do it one of these days.
Maybe. Well, you are a podcast superstar. So maybe you can get in with that.
Good Lord.
Where can people find you on social media, James, if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter. We'll Eric, you mentioned you're going to be doing some live stuff this week. I'm going to try this live press conference with Brad Keselowski tomorrow. So follow me if you get a chance to listen before tomorrow morning. Let's see if we can drum up any nuggets from Brad. I don't think we'll be able to, but I'm going to give it a try.
Cool. You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. Like I said, I will be tweeting like crazy from the press box at Michigan International Speedway this weekend. Hopefully we'll have some good driver conversations as well. What we can get, we'll be back next week with some of that on the podcast. We should have all kinds of driver audio. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. If you want more of the podcast, you can find it at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, including last week's with Steve from Barron Speedway. If you want to check that out, you can also go back a couple years and find the podcast at, I think it was 2018 from Chicagoland Speedway, where Steve made his first appearance on the show. There's an appearance from the Orange Cone. Brandon Crowd from the Lap Traffic podcast has been on. We've had a few guys on there. And then we had Jimmy Johnson audio. We got to talk to his former crew chief. All kinds of cool stuff. So check that out, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the show notes with the links to all the articles we discussed today. And all that can be found at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. It's Michigan International Speedway this weekend for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Truck Series will be at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. I'll be at Michigan, staying in the hotel in Ann Arbor, traveling to the track for 2 days of racing. We'll be back next week to break it all down, listen to some driver audio, and chat about what happens in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.